Ever felt a cold shiver run down your spine at the thought of failure? That's right, we're delving into the murky depths of the universal fear of failure. It's as global as the love for a good cup of tea, and as common as the misplaced keys you're probably searching for right now. It's that gnawing feeling in the pit of your stomach that makes you second-guess every decision, like a game of chess against a particularly smug pigeon. We've all been there, haven't we? Treading the tightrope of uncertainty, afraid that one misstep could send us spiraling into the abyss of failure. But here's a thought. What if this fear of failure is as irrational as, let's say, the fear of turning into a duck? Yes, you heard it right, a duck. I mean, who would fear that? But what if I told you there's a way to overcome this fear, and it starts with a laugh? Once upon a time, there was a man who was petrified by the idea of failure. This man, let's call him George, was so terrified of losing that he wouldn't even dare to enter the neighborhood potato sack race. You see, George had convinced himself that failure was like an oversized, untamed beast, ready to pounce at the slightest hint of defeat. Now, George's fear was so paralyzing that he would go to great lengths to avoid any situation where he might fail. He would even feign illness during family game nights to escape the potential embarrassment of losing at Monopoly. Yes, folks, his fear was that intense. One day, due to a hilarious mix-up, George found himself in a town-wide talent contest. He thought he was merely attending a karaoke night at the local pub, you see. Dressed in his comfortable cardigan and clutching a microphone, he was blissfully unaware that he was on stage, in front of the whole town, about to compete in a talent show. With a song in his heart and not a clue about the contest, George gave the performance of his life. He belted out tunes with such gusto that the crowd was left in awe. His rendition of Bohemian Rhapsody was so spectacular that it brought the house down. In the end, George, the man who was too scared to even play a board game, won the town-wide talent contest. Suddenly, the man who had spent his life running from failure was being cheered on by an entire town. He had faced his fear without even knowing it, and had come out victorious. He was the living proof that sometimes all it takes is to stop overthinking and just give it a go. And that, my dear friends, was how our hero learned that failure wasn't as scary as he imagined it to be, or maybe he just had a secret talent for singing. But you know what the funniest part is? Now here comes the twist in our tale. Our man, who had spent his whole life fearing failure, was wearing the wrong glasses on the day of the contest. Yes, you heard it right, the wrong glasses. This little blunder made him see his performance as a disaster, a complete and utter failure. His fear was still there, looming over him like a dark cloud. However, what he didn't know was that his performance was actually quite brilliant. His supposed failure was, in reality, a roaring success. He had taken his fear, his dread of failure, and turned it into a winning performance. He overcame his fear not by avoiding failure, but by embracing it, by living it, by transforming it into success. So the next time you're terrified of failing, just remember, you might just be wearing the wrong glasses. Now that we've had our laughs, what's the takeaway from this story? Well, it's quite simple. The fear of failure, as daunting as it may seem, is a part of us all. It's that little voice in the back of your mind that whispers, "What if?" But here's the thing, it's just a voice. It's not a prophecy, or a rule book, or a life sentence. It's simply a fear. So what happens when we face these fears? Well, we might stumble, we might even fall, but we also might just surprise ourselves. We might find that the fear of failure was holding us back from something truly extraordinary. And that's the funny side of it all. Failure is not the end of the world. In fact, it's often the beginning of a new one. A world filled with unexpected victories, newfound skills, and yes, even a few good laughs. And who knows, you might just find out you're a fantastic singer too, or a duck, you never know.